Cool. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just get started with triples. Go ahead and take some on your own. Take a couple on your own, just getting used to the weight of the saber. Remember, when I go into trick mode, I really focus on, yes, the technique of what we're doing, but definitely the feeling of that release of the saber. Good, good, good. Try a couple more. Yeah. Cool, cool. So I'm gonna be releasing all of my tricks. I'm gonna be releasing on that count 1, and I'm gonna be catching on that count 3. So every single time I release, I'd be going 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up, 2, 3. And I'm aiming for that count 3 catch every time. So the first thing I'm gonna do is the kind of body separation thing I always do with my trick classes is making sure that I'm gonna go release with my left hand. My right hand is just gonna come around, sweep around, and my right foot's gonna pull to coupe and then grab. So I would try that. I would release on that count 1, catch 3. Then I would separate the arms. I would go up 1, 2, grab 3. Then I would put it together, same exact thing. I would go 5 and 6, and 5, 6, 7, 8, up 1, 2, 3 to grab that every single time. Yeah, good. And then feel free, like I said, I know most of you guys are just chilling at home, taking notes, obviously. So if you have questions about what I'm doing, just put it in the chat, yeah. So this will most likely probably be a shorter class, honestly, because it's just gonna be me saying the information to y'all. Cool, okay. So obviously no questions right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try a couple more. And then for those of you that are doing it later with the recording, you can just try it with me. I'll be releasing on that count 1, moving on 2, catching on 3. So I'm going 5 and 6, and 5, 6, 7, 8, up 1, 2, 3. And you really wanna make sure, like, even what I'm feeling, the benefit of this as I'm doing it is I'm releasing and I'm leaning away from that saber. So there's a very clear separation between me and my equipment. As I'm releasing, I'm not just going up, arm, grab, I'm showing off that level change as well. Up, arm, grab, and coming back up into it. And that really takes that awareness of where your saber is in relation to your body, so you can definitely come back up to the right spot to catch. Yeah, so let's go ahead and try 2 more. I'm gonna go 5 and 6, and 5, 6, 7, 8, up 1, 2, grab. And last time, 5 and 6, and 5, 6, 7, 8, up 1, 2, grab. Cool, awesome. So any of the people watching, obviously, if you have questions, put it in the chat. I'm gonna get some water, and then I'm just gonna move on to the next one. And again, and this is all going all the way back from rifle too, because I know some of you that are in here learned it on rifle. So if you had questions from then too, just let me know. And then Eric, if you can just watch the chat too, and anytime someone says something, just flag me down. Cool, cool. So now I'm gonna be going into turnarounds, and turnarounds are literally the exact same concept as what I just explained with that release, that arm, and then that going into catch. It's just now, instead of adding an arm and a separation this way, my separation is coming from me turning around. So you wanna make sure I'm still focusing on releasing on 1, catching on 3, just like all my other tricks I'm doing today. So same thing, I go 1, 3, to grab, and now I do that same kind of mark feeling where I'm going 1, separate on 2, come into catch on that count 3. And the only thing that makes that happen is literally just me turning super quick to go into that turnaround. So again, I'm practicing going here, I'm in that second position, my left foot is stepped behind my right one, and I go dip, I release 1, grab 3. Yeah, good, go ahead and try that, Kendall. Yeah, then you just release 1, grab on 3. Yeah, good. So I'm gonna wanna make sure that as I'm going into that release, I'm not feeling a push any other way other than just that straight up feeling. Yeah, and get used to that like swing up feeling. And then from there, the thing about these turnarounds, and the reason that I personally teach turnarounds in this way, is that from here, I can just unwind. I don't really have to worry about the feet. I don't have to really worry about balancing at all. It's just how quick can you go from here and twist in the other side. So you kind of do that just a couple of times and get used to going one quick and grab. Yeah, good. And then from there, from that release on one, quick turn two, then you just put the hands in right to three. 1, 2, 3 to come in. And then notice during my turn, I'm really gonna make sure that my hands are just by my side. My hands are placed by my side that entire time as I'm going through. That way when I come up, it's not this. As I'm turning, I have that nice clear picture. Clear, grab to come in. Cool, cool. So obviously if you're watching, just kind of try some on your own. My left foot is behind my right foot. So I'm in this like second position. In the second position, my left foot goes behind my right, and then I turn over that left shoulder to unwind and go to the front. Yeah, so now, again, make sure we're always thinking that separation. 1, separate 2, come back into 3. But again, notice I do have a very clear picture. Both of these tosses so far, the first one, my picture was here. And now the second one, my picture is crossed back over like this here. So you wanna make sure you're feeling, you are releasing one with the intent of going turn and catching that this position. A lot of us sometimes when we're doing tricks, we're just like, oh, toss, trick, and then we go and search after our equipment instead of really feeling that connection between you and your equipment. Even though you're separated and even though you're turning away from it, you still have to be aware of where it's traveling, of like what progress it's making as you're doing your turn. So when I'm doing this turnaround, I'm going here, I am aware and grab. So I was able to see that my Sabre was going to the right because I was aware of where it was above me. So as you practice this, make sure we understand that too as we turn around. So everyone just try a couple more on your own if you're trying it at home. I'll give like 30 seconds and we'll try it together. So again, I am thinking 1, connect, grab on that count 3. 1, connect, grab. And every single time I do a trick, I'm making sure that I'm following through with the technique that I'm doing. So I'm still going release, grab. I'm not going like turn during my release because then crazy stuff like that starts happening too. Cool. So let's go ahead and try 2 turnarounds together. Here we go. And 5, and 6, and 5, 6, 7, set up 1, turn 2, 3. Good, and again, same thing. Here we go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, set up 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that one was a little high. Cool. So same thing. Obviously, if you have any questions about turnarounds, feel free to ask it in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and move on to our next one. Cool, cool. Okay, so next we're going to be doing some behind the backs. So behind the backs on Sabre, unlike rifle, I feel like when we do rifle behind the backs, you want to feel it like kind of like spin and rotate into the hand. But when I teach Sabre behind the backs, I want to actually feel it kind of fall. So I want to feel this effect happening. My hand is open, and I want to feel that Sabre doing this into my hand, not rotating into my hand. So in order to get that, you do the exact same triple that we've been doing this entire time. So you release on 1, catch 3 at that flat still. And now that hand is literally just going to come around and grab under. So my right hand is going in, right hand is going into catch. I'm going up. And again, I'm taking my hand like this, and my thumb is going to be grabbing to the left. Here I am, and I'll mirror like this. Thumb is grabbing facing that way when I end. So you can see it, and you can honestly try behind the backs, unlike turnarounds, you could probably do it singles and doubles. So you can try it first, just going here, up, grab, and just letting it kind of float, grab, and then catching with that right hand, float, grab. So with those ones specifically, you really can do those on a lower rotation and be totally fine. So literally just practice it just like that. That's literally what I did too to start getting these, and that'll help a lot. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah, so you wanna make sure the thing about behind the backs too, is you wanna have a really consistent foundation of going up, catch flat. You wanna make sure that's what really hits and sticks every single time, because that's what will help get that rotation into your hand and land. And yes, catching behind the back and going out of tracks is a very popular thing, yes. Very fun to do. Yeah, good. Good, yeah, those are good triples. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, good. Cool. So making sure that as we go into it and as we go into the behind the back, like Sabre, unlike rifle, just it hurts. You know what I mean? Just honestly, like it hurts our hands. So you have to make sure when you go into it with open palms, but still aimed and directed at catching. You can't just go into catching your Sabre like this, because then your fingers will get clipped. Yeah. So make sure it's under, and I'm opening that hand in that shape. And you can see, I'll turn this way. I'm in that shape to go catch my Sabre. So you want to make sure. So let's go ahead and try two together. Let's try two together. Let's go ahead and just do a triple first. Here we go. 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and 1, 2, grab. Good. Now we try it with behind the back. And all I'm going to do to make this happen is I'm just going to step my left foot to the right. So I'm going to go here. Here we go. And 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and up, 2, grab. Good. Same thing. Here we go. And 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and up, 2, grab. And see, that one was a little bit under rotated, honestly. And that's why, like you even saw for me, I was able to still go grab it because that hand was squeezing it in that shape to go grab my Sabre. So make sure we're all trying to make that shape behind our back. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Kendall, do you want to do a couple more so I can watch? Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit high. A little bit high. Go ahead and try it again. I like your reaction. Grab. Yeah, that one was a little bit. Yeah, so they're a little bit high and slow because they're grabbing here. And then I think they're hitting your wrist a little bit and then sliding down. Yeah, so make sure when you're going to grab, you don't get this effect with that back pushing up. Make sure you still stay tall and watch it. Yeah, and then keep your eyes on the Sabre the whole time. Good, cool. Yeah, and I know it's raining for you too, so you're going in and out of everything. Yeah, but yeah, so you're behind the back for super good. Just make sure you're a little bit lower as you release, and then make sure you're squeezing the hand. So let's all go ahead and try it one more time together. One last time, make sure we open that hand in that shape. Here we go. And 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and up, 2, grab. Good, cool. So now we're gonna be moving into under the leg catches. So if you wanna get a quick water, everyone, and then you can come back. Cool. So under the leg catches, honestly, I feel like aren't too hard to necessarily do the toss and trick. I think it's just hard to train your brain to put your hand under your leg. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to be in that second position. I'm just going to practice lifting my left leg directly to the right wall. So in my toaster, it's going to come across my body and up. So I'm going to practice this action a couple of times, making sure that I'm squeezing my core. I'm staying lifted above my hips and above that pelvis. So I'm doing this to go up, not doing this as I go up, because then I'm going to be leaning away from going into the catch. So go ahead and practice that a couple of times, going lift up and under. And then that right hand is literally just going to go, honestly, as far under as you can get it right now. So don't think of just doing this with your hand. Truly think of like, okay, how far can I get that hand underneath my leg without leaning back? So everyone try that on your own, releasing on 1, under 2, catching on 3. So then I do the same thing. I'm going to take my left hand, or sorry, my left hand in the hilt, and I'm going to go ahead and practice that catch, just like this, with that right hand coming down. And then I'm going to practice that left leg going up, then that right hand coming under to go catch the Sabre. Because this is an uncomfortable action if you're not used to it yet. It's going to be awkward to do. So practice that a couple of times. And then again, just like behind the backs, this is actually something you can do with a really lofty single. So I can do the same thing. I can go lofty single, grab to do that, and then practice putting that right hand right under my leg and grabbing. And again, watch how far my right hand goes under. I go here, grab. And see, even me, I'm getting that slight lean back, and that's bad. You want to make sure you're squeezing that core and you're staying lifted like this to go under that leg. So just try that a couple of times. I'll give like 30 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and try a couple together. So after you get it on the single, you do that nice floaty single to grab under. Then you try it on a double, floaty, floaty, grab. Same exact concept. Make sure it floats up to go into the leg. About 20 more seconds. And then this is, again, that's one of the biggest things, is making sure we stay lifted and squeezing that core. And then these kind of like leg swing exercises will definitely help with like under the legs. Any kind of leg swing that's an attitude, or even these ones, all help with that balance of lifting that leg to the side while still staying stacked and not off balance. Cool. So let's go ahead and try two together. Here we go. So same concept as all the other tosses. I'm releasing on one, catching on that count three. Here we go, 5. And let's go ahead and just do a normal triple together. Normal standard triple, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and 1, 2, 3. Good, now I do another leg, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and 1, 2, 3. Good, 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 good. And then try, obviously the challenge is to squeeze and lift up tall, but make sure if you do fall out of it, you're trying to take that right hand out quickly so you don't fall on yourself as you do that with the leg. Let's go ahead and do one more. Here we go. 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and 1, 2, grab. Good, cool. So same thing. I'm gonna get a quick water, and then we'll go ahead and move on to our next thing. And then just like before, if you have any questions about placement, details, anything like that, or how to do the toss, how to release, what you should be thinking, any of those concepts, just put it in the chat. Cool. And then the last like standard toss thing that we're gonna do before we go to 45 tosses is just a flourish catch. And definitely not anywhere near as hard as the last 3 that we've done, but something that on Sabre is not done quite often, but when people get it, they get tripped up. So we're gonna practice releasing that same exact triple that we have. Same triple we've been doing, 1, grab 3. But now I'm gonna practice trying to catch it at the upper 45, up here in front of that right shoulder. So I'm gonna practice going 1, 3, just like this. And I wanna practice catching a couple inches above that tape when I do that. So again, I just go 1, 3 to release that, and a little bit higher. I'm trying not to hit the tree. 1, 3 to grab that. Now from here, the reason it's important to grab this high up is because if we grab this low and we do this down here, look how awkward that flourish looks. So you wanna make sure you're trying to aim to grab it at the balance point, which is about here on the Sabre, because now from here, I'm able to now do a proper flourish. So I'm gonna catch it at that shoulder level here, up at that 45. And then same thing as when I learned tracks, how I go push pass, dive down to the waist level, exact same thing here. I'm gonna be catching up at the shoulder level, but I'm diving down to the waist level and into grab. So we all wanna make sure we're trying that, going up, we're grabbing it high at the shoulder level, and then letting it flourish down to that waist level. So I go up, flourish, and grab. And then I go again, up, flourish, and grab. And then you can do whatever you want out of it. You can go flourish and grab, you can go flourish, and then do a single. You can do backhands. This is honestly up to you. But the basis of it and that technique that we're working on in this class particularly is going up, grab, and then flourish in. So I'll give 30 seconds to kind of try that on your own a couple times, and then we'll try it all together. Cool, cool. Here we go. So catching at that upper shoulder level on that right side at the upper 45. Here we go. And 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Good. Let's do two more times. And I would kind of challenge you to experiment with how you're catching. I would try doing some different things. Maybe go to cradle, maybe try going flourish, and then maybe into like a behind the back. Like any of those things kind of advance the skill even more. Let's try two more. Here we go. 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Cool. And then last time. Here we go. 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, set, 1 and 3 and 5, 7. Cool. And then same exact thing. I'm going to go ahead and get some water. If you have any questions about that one, feel free to ask. And we'll be moving on to our last thing. And our last thing isn't a standard toss. It's just a 45 toss. Just working that kind of technique of how to release them. And like I said, if you all have any questions, feel free to ask. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on this 45 toss. So same exact thing, just kind of explaining the basics of it and kind of like where the pathway is, stuff like that. So I'm gonna start with that right hand in the hilt, just like this. And I have my thumb pressed up against the back of it, and it's just tucked behind me. So it's just connected to this arm, straight tucked behind me. From here, same exact thing as rifle. I feel kind of a flick first. See how my hand stays low, but my saber is flicking. Trying to let it hit the ground though. Obviously on saber, we do have to lift just a little bit higher, but we have that same effect where we're keeping it low, just not so low, obviously, that we hit the ground like what I just did. So from that flick, I'm gonna keep that now bent arm. So I go from straight to a slight bend. I'm gonna pull that behind my head, just like this. This is the pathway that I'm doing. I'm attempting to go from here, flick up, but I am not actually going all the way to vertical. I'm gonna actually stop it at this 45 angle right here. So everyone go ahead and practice that, going 5, 6, 7, 8, and up. And you get that flick. Flick that saber first, and then from that flick, you feel a quick pull into behind the head. So I go 5, 6, 7, 8, and up. Now from here, if you look from the side, I am cutting the wall first. So I'm going straight to the side first, and then from that side, I'm going kind of unicorn angle at that 45. So I'm going up and cut forward. So now from there, literally at that 45, like I mentioned, not vertical, I'm just gonna let it go. So I release when it's at this 45, and it will just rainbow over my head, and I'm gonna catch with that hilt up, out, grab. So notice the first thing, like kind of I always say in my classes, the swing of the saber is like the most important thing, but then it kind of floats as well. So it's not just a really quick pull behind the head, there's a massive amount of float and slowness to it as well. Slow it down, grab. I'm not asking anyone to do like a single or a 6 or like whip out like this, anything crazy. It's just a very, very soft release. Soft, grab. So make sure we all think of it soft as well. So go ahead and try that a couple times on your own. And then there's probably 3 mistakes that could be happening. The first mistake is you releasing too soon. So a lot of us think like, oh, I'm supposed to release at this 45, but then you actually release like right here. So your toss ends up looking like this. Yeah, so make sure we're all holding on long enough so it's rainbowing over into that position. Number 2 is you might be actually holding on too long. So you might be thinking like the prep that I had you do, you might actually be doing it like that. But look what happens when I release it at that vertical. My saber is just gonna keep going. We all kind of see that. So make sure you're releasing at this 45. And then number 3 could honestly be the biggest one that's kind of tripping us all up. And it happens every time anyone learns a 45 is just make sure you are flicking to the wall first. A lot of us might be thinking we are, and we might be getting to this point, but we might be doing it like this instead, going forward and up. And then your toss turns into this. Do we all see that? So that's not at the right 45. Your toss is supposed to look like this from this angle, like this, but it ends up looking like this because you're pulling that hand forward. So make sure we're all going flick to the wall, and then 45 up to that unicorn point, to the wall and up to grab. Yep, and again, notice my right hand. There's a slight flick but it's really nothing at all. It's mostly just lift and grab. And I'm gonna try it this time too without any flick at all. So normally I flick just for comfort for myself. I do a little bit of an up and then I flick to get my rotation. But I'm gonna show you this time on no flick at all. Out, grab. So a little under rotated, so that right hand now has to come up quicker. Out, grab. So that was no flick at all. So I didn't flick my right hand one single bit. I just pulled it straight up and grab and just made sure I released at that right point. So obviously, most of you guys had your cameras off. I saw like Kendall come in intermittently and stuff, and like some of you guys obviously had some questions. But at any time, I know most of you guys, you got rained out, but at any time, if you have any questions as you're working on this, feel free to message me on Instagram, show off these tricks, stuff like that, and I'll definitely give you feedback. And then one of the biggest like concepts, especially on Sabre compared to rifle, is that like when we're doing tricks, we have a lot of adrenaline. We have a lot of energy when we go into things. You know what I mean? Everyone like kind of preps for their tricks like this and then goes crazy. But Sabre, you have to finesse things. Sabre has to be like kind of very specific in the way you do things because it's really easy to toss over or toss too much or have your Sabre track even because of how like oddly weighted it is. So make sure we all understand just that simple concept of making sure we're releasing on 1, 3. That's just like the biggest concept of tricks, is making sure that whatever toss you're doing them on is consistent. If your triple is consistently 1 and 3, it doesn't matter what you do underneath your toss, it's always going to land because you're consistently 1 and 3. So that doesn't stop when you're doing tricks. Even if my toss is going up 1 and 3, it doesn't matter if I'm catching under the leg. It doesn't matter if I'm catching behind the back. It has to still go up and land all the same every single time. So just make sure we all understand that. Cool. So I'm gonna stay on for like 5 more minutes. If any of you have any questions that were on the call, feel free. If none of you guys have any questions, then we'll just go ahead and end it. But yeah, thank you guys, those of you that came and took notes. Thank you, Kendall, for like intermittently coming out in the rain and stuff and trying them. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something, even if it was just from notes. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions you have. Thanks, y'all.